I first got involved with Mike when it was Castleland Community Centre. He was short of staff and had come up to Barry Youth Centre to ask Fran if there was anybody who'd work alongside him and his team. Apparently everybody else knew what Mike was like and declined. I was very new and didn't realise, and actually offered to help him out because it was all about the kids and the young people at the time. So and from that moment on I stayed working for Mike. I must say though, for all of his foibles, shall we say, his heart was always in the right place, so that was the main reason. I think you stayed around because he meant good, even if he didn't quite say it all the time, and he never knows how to say thank you, but that's another thing. About a year, 18 months or so after I started the part-time youth work with Mike, we got together, Si and Mike and myself, and looked at how we could, instead of just do it part-time, be a full-time youth provision. And from that, Si came up with the name Vibe. So from that, the Vibe was born. And the monthly events then became Vibe events and run 12 months of the year. Sometimes I think we had an extra one for October. So my role in the Vibe events, if you like, was getting the staff in together. So we utilised every youth worker within the Vale that we could actually cajole or bully or beg to actually come and help us out on a Friday night. It was a good team, and we had a laugh. As much as it was work, and a lot of the months that we'd done it over many years, we had upwards of 800 young people coming in through the door, 800 teenagers that only went to a disco once a month. The one Christmas, the staff had worked extremely hard all year. We'd done a few events outside of that as well. And I suggested to Mike that a Christmas bonus of some description wouldn't go amiss. And it didn't have to be much, it didn't have to cost like a lot of money, but because there was 25 to 30 staff. But just something to show his appreciation, because like I said at the beginning, he doesn't know how to say thank you. So just a little something and a thank you. And he gave envelopes out to all the staff, and I should have known because he was grinning to himself and giggling to himself, which he did do on many occasions. And when the staff opened their envelopes, they were gold-covered chocolate coins. At that point, I thought there would have been a murder committed at a Vibe event, and it was mainly most of the staff wanted to get at Mike. They eventually saw the funny side, but they weren't that impressed to begin with, because the lead up he'd given about, how he'd gone out of his way and how he's thought really long and hard, and then to be presented with an envelope of chocolate covered gold coins, it just wasn't what they expected. I don't know anywhere else that could have upwards of 800 young people once a month in a hall inside four walls, and it'd be absolutely fine. It was good for the young people. I know young people who still young to me, but they're in their late 20s up to mid 30s, and they still talk about the Vibe. They still talk about, oh, remember that, Trace? Oh, remember that, Trace? How so-and-so? They remember the names of the staff, and they remember the good times they had. And to be able to have put that into, that people remember all those years later with fond memories, I think is an absolute, it's cracking. And at the end of the day, I suppose it was Mike's idea, so maybe we should thank him for that. But I'm sure Mike would admit, if it wasn't for the staff team that brought those events together, and not just on the nights between 7 and 10:30, but going to get the equipment in that afternoon or that evening, going to the warehouse to buy the sweets, and then packing all the stuff away at the end of the night and taking it to, because we couldn't store anything in the memo, So it was lugging work, or it was, I mean, the setup and takedown, we had muscles on top of muscles every month. But we remember it fondly, and the young people that we actually attended still remember it fondly and talk about it. So yeah, that was fine, and it was great.